I'm so excited to flow with you guys today. So let's just start in child's pose and just kind of come to our breath and collect ourselves and make ourselves a little bit more present on this beautiful day. Just really send your hips back on your heels and stretch your arms out long. Even put your hands to prayer and put them behind your head if you wish. Just take a couple breaths, rest your forehead on the mat, and just enjoy this moment. Just slowly start adding more movement in and just kind of moving our spine back and forth by bending our arms and bending our knees back and forth, just to add a little bit of movement. And then we're going to come back on the tops of our fingertips and kind of go back and forth and roll up to cat-cow. Just finding movement here. It's important in these movements to, especially right now while we're warming up, just kind of do your own thing. So just take a couple cat-cows while we're in this position. And then maybe just draw your hip to come closer to your shoulder or roll your hips out a little bit, really warming up your spine here. Just find more movement in this tabletop position. Rolling out your hips. You can send your hips even down to the ground. And then let's come together for our first down dog, that upside down V shape. Pedal out your feet. Shake your head yes and no. Maybe pedaling out your hips and your shoulder blades. Just find some movement here. And also release a lot of tension that comes usually when you get into this pose. Just take a minute here. And then gaze forward and step your feet very softly forward to meet your hands. And make sure there's a bend in your knee. And halfway lift here, so put your back straight. Palms on your shins. And then lower. And inhale, rise up to your first mountain very, very slowly. Kissing your hands above your head. We're going to do a side bend here and just bend over to the right and bend over to the left, grabbing your right wrist. Then come back, place your arms at the center of your chest, and slowly let your heart guide you down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, place your hands at the top of the mat. Step back and lower down all the way to your belly. Untuck your toes, slowly rise your arms towards straight. Relax here. You can bend one knee or the other. This is our first cobra pose, so make sure you take it lightly as it's kind of an intense back bend. We'll go back up to tabletop and then right back up to downward dog. Stretching a little deeper here. Really pedaling out our feet and bending our knees. We're going to come back up, walk our feet to our hands, and do sun salutation A again. Inhale and exhale, and inhale up to mountain. Remember when we do our halfway lift to place our hands on our shins and really extend our spine. It's just going to get an extra bit of movement. Inhale up to mountain. We're going to do a side bend, grabbing our left arm, bending to the right, grabbing our right arm, bending to the left. Feeling that spine. We're going to come back down to forward fold, halfway lift. Place our hands in front. Lower all the way to our belly. Go back up to cobra and then straight up to down dog. We're going to start moving a little bit quicker here. So now we're at down dog. We're going to walk one more time. Walk our feet to the top of our mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise to mountain. Grab that left wrist. Go to the right. right wrist, bend over to the left. And then we're going to actually add a little side bend. So we're swooping our right arm back, twisting to the back. And then we're going to swoop our left arm to the back, bending and adding that bend. Just a little bit extra bend before we continue. Forward fold, halfway lift, and lower. This time, we're going to jump back and lower just halfway to our chaturanga and then up to our up dog so our knees and our thighs are up off the mat. And then exhale, roll over our toes and come back to that down dog. We're going to start slowly adding weights once we're done here. So let's inhale and raise our right leg up to the sky. Bend that out a little bit. Send it forward to a low lunge position. And while you're here, grab your weights next to you and roll them so that they're right by your feet. And then you're going to take them and put them close to the inside of your chest and then rise up from there, making sure you're not trying to bend any certain way. Always rise with the weights right in the middle of your chest. And then we're going to go to this warrior two position just with our feet. And then roll our shoulders back, and we're just going to do some bicep curls right here for a count of 8. 3, 4, 5, 6. Keeping the bend in your knee and your front knee. 7 and 8. And then we're going to stay here for just a moment. And we're just going to do some holds in that position. So our arms at a 90-degree angle. We're doing some waiter holds, so those weights are still staying there. We just hold for a little bit. Turning our body, coming back to that low lunge. We're going to float our leg up and take our vinyasa again. Chaturanga to up dog. Rolling over our toes back to down dog. Lifting our left leg this time. Sending it through between our hands. After we stretch a little bit here, send it through between our hands. We're going to rise again, being very careful and mindful that we're rising with our weights, with our chest in the center of our chest. So once we move back to that warrior two position with our feet in that position, we're going to do a different kind of movement. We're going to windmill our arms out and up with the weights in our hands. And sending our shoulders back and down to stay away from our ears. We're just going to slowly windmill them up and back down for a count of 8. And up. 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more. 7. And 8. Next, we're going to add kind of a burner here, very, very slowly. Slow and controlled, very slowly. We're going to rise back up and back down very slowly. This extrinsic movement. Putting our weights back to our chest, stepping back to our low lunge, and then floating that left leg through our vinyasa again. Chaturanga to up dog. Roll over those toes to down dog. And you can keep your hands in your weights in your hands when you're going through your vinyasas, as long as the weights are heavy enough so that you don't roll the weights, so they're not rolling your ankle or your wrist. We'll raise our right leg back up to the sky. We're going to send it through one more time. Very slow and controlled, remember, keeping control of your weights. Pivot that back heel down. We're going back to that warrior two position. Really bending that front leg. Sending your back arm and resting it on your hip. We're going to extend that front arm up and do a side crunch press here. We're crunching into our knee, keeping that knee bent, and then sending that arm right back up for a count of 8. Really engaging your stomach here keeping that bend in your leg. Once you're done with your slow and controlled count of 8, put your arm back to where you had it, right with your waiter carries. And then slowly, keeping your arm really tight against your stomach, against your side, just start moving your lower arm from your elbow down, back and forth, keeping the 90-degree angle for a count of 8. You're going in and out, and every time you go out, you're squeezing the back of your shoulder blades. Once you're done with that, come back to center to that low lunge and take your vinyasa. And just taking that moment here, making sure each moment is slow and controlled. Lifting that left leg up high once you're in that down dog position, sending it through. Going back to that warrior 2, keeping those weights up tight to your chest. And this time we're resting our right arm on our back hip. We're going to do those crunches again on this side, but with our left arm. So we're crunching into our knee and up, kind of like a crunch press with our weights. Keeping our shoulders back. We're doing this for a count of 8 as well. Bending in and up. Appreciating the sun flare. And then we're going to put our arm super close to our side, and we're just moving our lower arm. You can see every time I push it to the side, my side arm, I'm really squeezing my shoulder blades behind me. Doing this for a count of 8. Bringing the weights back to my chest, coming back to that low lunge, sending the left leg high one more time and taking my vinyasa. Taking a moment in up dog to just breathe, and then rolling my toes back over to down dog. And just breathing one more time. Roll your weights to the side. Let's just take a second and have a moment in this down dog before we start a little bit of cardio. We're going to do 5 yoga burpees. So what you want to do is jump your feet in front of your hands and roll back, sending your legs back, jump over again and go down to a push-up. Maybe watch that first one. Just jump, roll back, place your hands at the top of the mat, jump your feet back to a push-up. Jump forward, roll back, jump back, push up. Doing 5 of those, slow and steady. They're really ridiculous, but they're also really awesome. I think we're almost done here. Keep it going. Roll over and jump back. And once you're done with your very last one, slowly lower down to your belly and just take a moment to breathe here. Take another breath here. And then on your next inhale, tuck your toes back under and slowly rise up to a top of a push-up and then back to down dog. Immediately, let's raise our right leg to the sky, send it through again to that low lunge. Grab those weights that you sent to the back, send them to your chest, and instead of going to warrior 2, we're going straight to crescent lunge. So we're keeping that heel lifted, and then we're going to do some tricep kickbacks. We're doing 8 of these, sending our weight a little bit more forward, keeping the bend in our leg. Once we're done with our count of 8, send the left leg forward to meet the right, just so you're standing at the top of your mat. And then, very slow and controlled, send your right leg back to that crescent lunge, really bending into that. We're going to do some presses here. Hovering that knee right off the mat, just do press of 8 here. Pressing through, putting your head through. Slow and controlled. Once you're done, put your weights back to your chest. Step forward to a standing position. Send our weight to the front, and we're going to do some reverse flies here. Having a little bend in our knee. Really squeezing our shoulder blades at the top of our fly. We'll do 8 reps here as well. Send it back to our center of our chest. Take a deep breath, and we're going to send our left leg back to that crescent lunge again, and we're going to do the tricep kickbacks just one more time. At the count of 8 here. You got it. Keep going. Really squeeze, really extend those arms back. Step forward. Extend our right leg back, hovering our knee, and take our presses with our weights. A count of 8 here. And step forward. We're going to come back forward, and we're doing those reverse flies one more time here. Squeezing at the top with our shoulder blades. Keep it up here. Take some deep breaths. Keep going. You're doing great. Exhale and very slowly bend forward. Release your weights. You put your weights on your mat. Kind of grab them and use them for leverage to bend a little bit deeper into that forward fold. And just take a couple breaths here. Catch your breath a little bit before we come back to cardio. Release the tension in your knees. You're going to roll your weights to the sides of your mat. And step back, placing your hands at the top of your mat, and we're going to straight into mountain climbers. We're going to do 50 mountain climbers all together. Keeping a flat back. Keep it up here. That'll be about 25 on each side. Arms straight, really reaching those knees high, either to your chest or to your elbows. Keep it up here. We're almost done. And then come to the top of a push-up and slowly lower onto your belly. Move your weights to the side, away from the side, because we're going to stretch out our arms. We'll reach our left arm to the side and raise our right leg up and over our left leg. And place our left cheek on the mat. And then really send our shoulder up and over. This is going to be really great for our shoulders. They're probably burning like crazy right now, so it's really good to relax and stretch this piece right now. You can even send your top arm over your head and grab the weight that's above you. I kind of like to hold on to it just because it gives it that extra stretch. I love being able to have something to hold on to and stretch. Just taking a couple moments to come back to your breath and keeping this hold, keeping this stretch. Slowly release your upper arm. Send your leg back to the middle of your mat. Very slowly push your other arm straight out and lift your left leg up and over your right, bending and rolling over that shoulder. And you can send your other arm up and over to have that counter pressure, something to hold on to stretch that upper shoulder blade and that side body. And just close your eyes and enjoy the stretch. Slowly start increasing your exhales and inhales and just start coming back to center. Next, you're going to grasp your hands behind your back. Slowly rise up, placing your knees and your feet off of the mat, giving you kind of a counter pose to release the tension between your chest. A secondary movement for your abs. Really hold here, keeping your shoulders off the mat, and then slowly relax, putting your left chin on the mat. I'm going to do the same thing, but go a little bit deeper into the pose. Bending our knees, we're going to send our arms back to reach our ankles. And then on the next inhale, slowly push your feet away from your hands, which will help kind of guide your hands up further and your shoulders up higher so that you're in this bow pose. Really reaching up high, letting your body rock, giving your intestines a massage, and then slowly releasing, placing your cheek back on the mat. Very slowly come back to child's pose here, just for a moment, and then back to tabletop, and then right back to downward dog. I'm going to send our right leg high and through, but instead of putting it between our hands, we're just going to step it forward, and then we're going to turn to the side of our mat with our feet parallel with the sides of the mat. I'm going to take this time right now to do the inversion of your choice. If you want to just hang your head and your shoulders, your hips, and just kind of fold your upper body over your legs, this is a really great inversion. Any inversion, the definition of one is just whenever your head is above the level of your heart. So if this is good for you, that's great. If you want to take a balancing posture, if that's in your practice, that's a beautiful way to find that inversion as well. I love getting upside down anytime, every day. There's so many beautiful benefits. Increased oxygen to all parts of your body. You sleep better. So many different health benefits. Like I said, if you just want to kind of hang out so that your head is below the level of your heart, that helps as well. Test your balance here too. It's always fun to play around. Slowly, you're going to come back together. Halfway lift here, stretching your arms out long. And you crawl your hands forward. That your right foot is already to the top of the mat. I'm going to heel toe your right foot over to the left. Bend your knee. We're going to come into half pigeon here. So we're going to inhale high and exhale, just slowly start crawling forward to this half pigeon, this yin posture. If you've done yoga with me before, I always do some type of yin pose in all of my yoga and all of my yoga flows. This yin posture is super pivotal, super transforming. It's beautiful postures that make you super uncomfortable, and yet it stretches the fascial layer of tissue in your body, the connective tissue that surrounds your muscles, your tendons, your bones. And there's no other way to stretch your fascia instead of making it uncomfortable. So in a lot of really real terms, you have to literally be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That discomfort is necessary in the growth and the stretch of your fascia, and it's in the stretch of your flexibility. And so as you see me in this pose, I might be, and you might be, just resting on your elbows or even on your hands, or you might even have a block above your elbows and you're just leaning forward, or even just on your hands, like I said. But if you do relax deep into this posture like I am, it's super important to find a place that you can relax enough, like be in a place that it hurt, it's a discomfort, but there's no pain. And it's hard for us to decipher between the two, right? But also somewhere where you can be for 2 minutes at least. These yin postures are longer holds. To get the benefits of them, we must be holding them for longer than 2 minutes. And you just slowly continue to breathe and sit in this posture. Almost done here. Slowly increase your exhales and inhales and very, very slowly rise back out of this posture. And you send your right leg back to meet your left. You can shake it out here by coming back to the downward dog, and then rolling and twisting your right leg over your left. Come over to Wild Thing and flip back over. Send your left leg through, rest it down on the mat to set yourself up for half pigeon on the other side. Technically, your shin is supposed to be parallel with the top of your mat. Mine is not. I don't know if it will ever, but I usually try to just find a space where I feel stretching, I feel discomfort, and I know that I can rest, or I feel like, or I hope I can rest for at least 2 minutes there. I can release the tension in my hips, in my knees, and my legs so that I can really feel the benefits of this stretch. And we'll rest here and breathe here for 2 minutes. Always remembering to come back to our breath. Not moving, finding stillness in this yin pose. Sometimes when I'm in these yin postures, I feel repressed memories or emotions come up, and it's a beautiful way to let it go. A beautiful space, a safe place to allow us to feel different emotions that we might be feeling. Keep breathing here. We're almost done. Keep breathing. Come back to your breath just a little bit. Increase your inhales and exhales, and very, very, very slowly start coming out of this posture. Send your left leg back to your right. Send it back over your right leg and take Wild Thing if you wish. Just taking a moment to stretch out that hip and come back forward and around. Very slowly walk your feet to your hands, and then you're just going to take a seat on your mat. I'm going to take one more pose here. It's butterfly pose. I like to tuck my hands underneath my feet, underneath my shins, so that I can feel a little bit more of the stretch here. And then I feel as if I don't have to use a lot of pressure and a lot of my weight to try to keep me down in this pose. I use just like the weight of my legs so I can relax more of my muscles here. Just take a couple more breaths here. Are you feeling just a little bit more of a different stretch? Opening these hips just a little more. Very slowly roll back out of this posture. Make sure you're in the middle of the mat and very slowly go back. Lay on your back. Send your knees to your chest and really take a big hug. Then you can send them over to your right side and you look towards your left. Just taking a couple more spine twists here. Wringing out your spine, wringing out the toxins that might be in your body. And then send your knees back to the center of your chest and off to your left. Looking towards your right. Just taking a couple more breaths here. Sending your legs back to the center of your chest. I'm going to very carefully take one more. We take plow pose. Very carefully, being mindful of your neck. And send your legs up, over your head. And you can kind of tripod your arms so that your hands are assisting and helping. Even send your arms forward to grab your knees. Just take a couple breaths here. Whenever it feels comfortable for you, slowly come out of this pose into happy baby. Grabbing your big toe with your 2 fingers and thumb and sending your knees back down towards the sides, really opening those hips. And even straighten one leg, straighten the other. Straighten both legs if you wish. Whatever feels good for you in this position. Sometimes I like to go from straight out, in and bend. Kind of make a little flow out of my happy baby. Once you're done there, once you feel complete there, send your legs out to the corners of your mat for our final resting Shavasana pose. Seeing our hands to our sides, just breathing here. Allowing yourself just a moment of stillness and peace and gratitude for what you accomplished today. And send your right hand to your belly and your left hand to your heart. And send your feet, the bottoms of your feet together, and your knees out wide like a frog. This complete pose is Skoli Mudra, where you give that energy back to yourself. You thank yourself, hug yourself, and love yourself in this moment. And just notice how that feels. And here you can take 2 beautiful, deep cleansing breaths. And place your hands at heart center and rise them up to between your eyes on your third eye for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and then down to the center of your chest for kindness, always to yourself first and then to others. And you can repeat these affirmations. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am unique. I am rare. There is no one like me. I am never too much and always enough. Take a big inhale through your lungs and hold at the top, and exhale loudly out your mouth. And take one more inhale through your nose, filling up your lungs, sipping in the last bit of air at the top. And exhale again out your mouth. Feeling the light radiate within you. My light and love honors and never compares the light and love within you. Namaste. Thank you so much for following along. Make sure you subscribe so we can yoga all day together.